Hello, and welcome to Kickin' Cooking in Quarantine. I'm Mary Bear Shannon. I'm a reference librarian at the Haverford Township Free Library. I'm so glad to see you all here today. We are broadcasting from my kitchen, and I am here practicing social distancing with my family, and have been, like we all have, for the last couple of weeks. This is a brand new program. We are going to be doing this every Monday at 5 o'clock. Again, it's called Kickin' Cooking in Quarantine. I'm going to have to get used to saying that. And we're really glad that you are here. I see that Cindy Young is here. So hello. And I'm sure there'll be more that will join us soon. So a little bit about me and my social distancing. I'm here with my two sons and my husband. My college-age son is home from college and is doing classes online. And then I have a senior at Haverford High School who is also home doing learning online. I'm also here with my husband who is home. He's doing most of the cooking for us, which I appreciate. I'm also doing some, but he's also my grocery shopper. So, and he's trying really hard not to go out as very often. So if we don't get it in that one run, it's tough to, we have to just make do with what we have. And so we thought this would be a really good program to talk about what we're cooking. And also, how do we get around when we don't have all of our ingredients? I've already have found that to be the case. And so I'm going to share a couple of my substitutions and end runs around some of those shortages. And I would love to hear from you as well. Again, I'm Mary Bear Shannon. I am the reference librarian, one of the reference librarians at the Haverford Township Free Library. Many of you may know me because I run the Cookbook Club. I do programming at the library, and one of my favorite programs is the Cookbook Club, which has been up and running for almost 5 years. It is a group of people, and everybody is welcome to participate. We pick a cookbook every month, and everybody cooks from it, and then they bring their dishes to share. So it's like having a potluck every month. It's usually the second Monday of the month at 6:30 in our community room. But since we are not doing anything in the library at the moment because we are closed, we thought we would do another food program, a way to reach more people, and hear from you all in terms of what you're cooking, what are your comfort foods, what are the things that you're struggling with. What new things have you tried? I have some recipes that I haven't made in a really long time. So I really have enjoyed having just a little bit more time to work on some of those recipes. So I see that Diane Amadio is here. Hi, Diane. Glad to have you here. I also see that Amy is here. Welcome. Again, we are creating this program as a way to kind of share our recipes. I'm actually going to do a demonstration today, so please don't hold me to any standards of the Food Network. I would not live up to it, but I am going to show you one of the recipes that I am making, and I'm actually going to make it for dinner tonight. My family is expecting a dinner after this broadcast, so we'll go through that and show you all the steps and the ingredients. There are a couple of things in this recipe that I don't have, so I had to do some substitution. So I thought we could talk about that as well. Just to start, what we're doing, since this is our brand new program, first of all, I want to encourage everybody to join our Facebook group. We have a group that is a kind of a subset of the main Facebook page of the library. And it's, of course, called Kickin' Cooking in Quarantine. So please join. It's a good way to find out some good recipes. Anything that you don't see in the comments today, you can go to that Facebook page and see some of the great recipes. You can continue to contribute there and ask your questions. Maybe you're working on a recipe and you don't have what you need. Maybe that group can help you with substitutions. We really are all in this together. And we want this to be a place where people can come and share and get help and share their own suggestions. But what I thought I would do just to start out is just a couple of quotes that I came up with that I found today about cooking and what it does for us in our lives. So here's a couple. One is food brings people together on many different levels. It's nourishment of the soul and body. It's truly love. And that's from Giada De Laurentiis. Another quote that I really liked was from Luciano Pavarotti. One of the nicest things about life is the way we must regularly stop whatever it is we are doing and devote our attention to eating. So that's Pavarotti. And then another quote I liked. This is Guy Fieri. And no, it's not about a flip-flop. Cooking is all about people. Food is maybe the only universal thing that really has the power to bring everyone together. No matter what culture, everywhere around the world, people get together and eat. Now, I know that we are not all getting together because we are all practicing social distancing, but we are with our families. And it really is that, what I like is that idea that, regardless of what's going on in our lives, we do have to stop and eat. And we do have to kind of take a break. And I would recommend, just personally, that you do that. You sit down with your family, you sit at the family table. If it's just you, then I would say sit down. Don't just sit in front of the TV, and please don't do it in front of the news, because that would cause a lot of indigestion. But really make sure you have that time together. Yes, everybody is driving each other crazy. My family included. I'm sure I'm driving them crazy. But I also remember that I love them and they love me. And that process of sitting down, I think, has some real merits and helps us to kind of stop thinking about everything that's driving us, making us anxious. So, and I really think that may be why we started this program, was really to, give us some opportunities to delve into something that maybe we haven't had a whole lot of time to do, and that is to cook, which is really an art form in itself. I see Jen Russo is here. Welcome. I'm glad to have you here. And I'm sure we'll see more people as the time goes by. Again, my name is Mary Bear Shannon. I am the reference librarian at the Haverford Township Free Library, and this is Kickin' Cooking in Quarantine. So my first question, and if you want to respond, please, I'd love to see it in the comments. What has been some of your best substitutions that you have done in these past few weeks? What are you most proud of in terms of getting around a shortage that you had? So what's worked well? And then, of course, if you don't mind sharing, what didn't work really well in terms of a substitution. So if you've got some suggestions, some comments, I'd love to see them here on this video. I'll tell you, one of the things that I did early on is I made a lemon meringue pie, and I actually put it on our Facebook page. It is a recipe that I got from a very good friend of mine. It was her mother's recipe, and I've been making it for many, many years. My kids ask for it pretty much every birthday or celebration. But I did not have any cream of tartar. And it's one of those things that, I have it, but then, and I only use it for a couple of things. And I literally had used the last little bit a couple of months ago. So I was just like, darn, what do I do? Because it does ask for cream of tartar in the meringue. And so I did find a substitution, and it was for every half teaspoon they asked for cream of tartar. You either substitute 1 teaspoon of lemon juice or white vinegar. And that seemed to work really well. That helped with the meringue in terms of the chemical process. And I have read what it is, but I can't tell you authoritatively. But the substitution of the lemon juice and the white vinegar worked. So that was great. The one kind of not so great thing is we were doing we've been doing a lot of soups. because it has been kind of cold and rainy. And we had this great soup, North African. It had turmeric in it and ginger and sweet potatoes. It was wonderful, and it called for coconut milk. And we had just run out. We had actually made the same soup a couple of days prior, and we wanted to do it again. And we didn't have any, and so we used cream of coconut, and that was a mistake. So that is really sweet. And we did not, it just did not turn out the way we wanted it to, because it was definitely too sweet. So those are kind of my substitutions that have not done particularly well, and then one that did work out. I see from Jen, she says there's an egg shortage and she's rethinking baking. And I definitely think that is the case. And I just feel like we're going through so many eggs because we're baking a lot. We're also, it's just, we have more time to, make breakfast in the morning. So we might have eggs as opposed to a quick bowl of cereal before we go. So I find I'm running out of them too. And so I would love to hear if anybody has some suggestions for Jen about eggs, an egg shortage. I do find that sometimes I can't find flour in the grocery store or sugar. I was also not finding brown sugar the other day, so that was a challenge. So I think anything that you guys can help us with in terms of the those types of things. I mean, I know that there are a lot of great flourless cakes, and especially people who are thinking about gluten-free. So yeah. A suggestion from Rashay, our youth services manager. You could use applesauce instead of egg sandwich. But applesauce, I think, is definitely a binder too. It's definitely a good. I know that applesauce is a great way to substitute for oil if you don't want something to be as oily, but you definitely need that moisture and that flavor. Sometimes applesauce can be a really good. So Rashay, why don't you clarify that for me instead of an egg sandwich? So I'd love to hear more from that. So again, I would encourage everybody to join our Facebook group, which is Kickin' Cooking in Quarantine. It is, you will find it as part of the Facebook page. It's you can just search it in Facebook and you will find it. But you'll also see cross postings on the main Facebook page. But that's a great place to trade recipes, trade ideas. So I think I'm going to do my demonstration. And please be gentle on me because I'm not, I'm not a Food Network star, but we'll give it a try. So the recipe I will post in the Facebook page later. It is African chicken stew. And it's really, really good. It's got, of course, chicken and garbanzo beans and peanut butter. So it has a really nice kind of medley of flavors, and potatoes as well. So it's very hearty and it tastes really good. So, okay, so seeing a couple of more. So just wanted to let you know, Rashay said that should have read egg. So, and Diane suggested egg beaters. And, again, a lot of our shelves are empty. But egg beaters could be, I know that sometimes when I get egg beaters and I'm not going to use it right away, sometimes I freeze it. And then that can be unfrozen fairly easily. So if you see that and you know that there might be shortages coming up, egg beaters might be a good substitute. So, and I think Rashay is telling me here, use a 1/4 cup of unsweetened applesauce in place of 1 egg in most baking recipes. That's good to know. Some sources say to mix it with 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. If you all you have is sweetened applesauce, then simply reduce the amount of sugar in the recipe. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I'll show you today. I actually my recipe called for kind of a natural peanut butter that's unsalted, and I didn't have that. So I'm using a regular peanut butter. So I am going to reduce the amount of salt that I'm going to use in my recipe. So, all right, so here we go. I am going to move my video camera over here to my kitchen. You're going to see here is my my pan, and I have most of my my ingredients here. So we're going to give this a try. Again, this is African chicken peanut stew. I guess I won't cut my head off here too much, but I will try and do the video as much as I can so you can actually see it. So again, in a large skillet, and it calls for one with a tight lid. And I think that's for later when when the stew is cooking. They don't want all the liquid to escape because there is only 1 cup of water in it. So I think they want to make sure that all those juices stay in there. So it's going to ask me in a large skillet to have heat up some oil. And as you'll see here, I have put my oil in the pan. Hopefully that's visible, but I put that in earlier. And I am heating that up. And now it's asking me to, is at a, and so when this gets a little warm, we are going to put in our chicken and we're going to cook it. I also need to find another pan because we're going to put the chicken in here afterwards. So again, not the Food Network, but we're giving it a try here. And then we're going to put, let me see, this is almost ready, I think. A little piece in there. Nope, we're still working on getting it warm. So again, this is going to ask for, we're not going to do the whole recipe, and I will show you the finished product. I'll take some pictures and put it on my Facebook page. But there is some, you cook some things and then you let it sit for a little while, and we probably won't get to all of it, but I will show the finished product later. So, okay, so I think this is getting probably warm enough. So I'm going to put my chicken in. Okay, fairly cooked. And we're going to cook this. I'm going to tilt this down so you can see it. I wanted to let you know, if you see my little pearls here, I am doing this not because I'm a big pearl person, but I am doing this in a nod to the first person who cooked on television, and that was Julia Child. So if you catch me saying at the end, bon appetit, that's my nod to Julia Child. The other thing I would tell you about Julia Child is her entire, The French Chef, is now being streamed on Prime. So if you have Prime Video, you can see all of her episodes. And, you know, the first ones are pretty clunky. They are, they don't have a camera that looks down on the dish. And she's, you know, I just love her. She's not very polished. Things fall out of the pan. She doesn't care. And that's what I think I love about her too, as well, because she's and again, she was the pioneer, wasn't she? I don't know if anybody has memories of watching Julia Child. If you're old enough, I know I was a child. I watched my mother watch Julia Child with her, and then watch her attempt recipes. I have this distinct memory of her doing crepes at our kitchen stove, and it was a struggle. I mean, it was definitely a new skill that she was learning. So anyway, so we are cooking this chicken fairly quickly because you are going to take it out and you're going to put it back in and cook it with the stew. So we're just going to get this browned, and it is, and then we will take it out. So that's not going to take too long here. And then we're going to start with kind of the base to our stew. So I'm looking to see if there are any. Oh, so thank you, Diane, that you like my pearls. I think of the movie Julie and Julia, and the Julie wearing her fake pearls, her plastic pop pearls for a long time before her husband gave her kind of an imitation set, but it was a little bit kind of a step up. But she always wore her pearls as kind of an homage to Julia Child. So thank you, Diane. Okay, so this looks fairly browned. I mean, it's not seared. The thing about chicken, I find that it's very hard to get it to brown because chicken these days has so much water in it. And I find that a lot of times it just kind of poaches. But it is browned. There's no pink left. So I'm going to take this off and put that aside. And then I'm going to turn down my heat to about medium low, because I am going to put in my garlic, and you don't ever want to put garlic in a super hot pan because it will burn. So the next thing in here is, and I'm going to start with my onion too. So onion, garlic, and some potato, and I'll show that to you. I just diced this up. I'm going to show this to you. So that's going in. And then a little bit of this garlic. I didn't ever want to put garlic in a super hot pan because it will brown and it will burn, and then the taste just completely changes. So I did not. It calls for a large potato cut up and and one onion, and I'm out of onions. I mean, we've been cooking here, and we still need to get to the store. So I have some shallots. So I am cooking. I cut up a couple of shallots that I hope to make up one onion chopped, and then my garlic. So I'm going to put that. So I'm putting so I put the garlic, onion, potato, and I'm going to saute that about 2 or 3 minutes, not very long, and we're just kind of get that started. I like shallots, even though it calls for an onion. It's a little milder. I've heard it also called that it almost has kind of a garlicky flavor to it, which is kind of nice since this also calls for garlic. So I like shallots and things even when it doesn't call for shallots. But I just, again, I'm out of onions, and that's also something I've seen has been out in the grocery store as well. So it's just those staples because, and people are, they're stocking up just like toilet paper. They're stocking up. So, okay, so we are continuing to saute the onions, the garlic, the diced potato. You're just starting a small, you're not cooking it all the way through. You're just sauteing at this point. And then, and I have my dog Charlie, who's here. It's whenever I cook in the kitchen, he is hoping that something will fall on the ground. And it doesn't matter whether it's hot, it's on the ground. It is fair game. So, okay, so another minute here. And I'm going to show you the pan here. So, sorry I can't put all of us. I could stoop over and say hi, but I can't do both. So you're just going to have to see my midsection while you watch the food, which is probably better anyway. I mean, you're really here to look at the food and not me. So that has sauteed for a little while. And then we're going to add some seasonings, and I just want to show you these little tiny cups. I got these for Christmas a couple of years ago. And I tell you, when you're doing something that calls for lots of different seasons, and you want to kind of get ready, especially if you're going to be cooking fast, it's great to have these. I have a number of them, and we've got a couple of seasonings that are going to go into this. So I really like these a lot. Okay, so we're going to add to this cumin. So this is cumin. And coriander. So we're going to do coriander. Oh, and that smells so good. And ground pepper. And some salt. And again, I used a little less salt because my peanut butter is salted. And then it does call for a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. I use a lot less. I only use a quarter teaspoon because I have my family's a little sensitive to the red pepper flakes. So I only use a quarter. I mean, you really can use as much as you like, and you can tolerate. So, okay, so we are stirring this up, and we are seasoning this, kind of letting what I read in many recipes, just you're cooking the seasons and letting them kind of coat and soak into your vegetables. Okay, and then we're gonna mix in the water. So it just calls for 1 cup of water. So we're gonna put that in. And then we are gonna put the chicken back. Yes, we're gonna put the chicken back in, and any juices that came about with the browning of that chicken. So we're done with that, and we are going to kind of keep it at this medium, but we're going to and then we're just going to put the lid on. And that's why they asked for that tight-fitting lid, because it's going to cook at this kind of medium-low heat for about 10 to 15 minutes. We won't have time to do everything today, but after this, after the 10 or 15 minutes, you're going to put your peanut butter and your garbanzo beans in, or your chickpeas. So the chickpeas are drained and rinsed, so they're all ready to go. And I just wanted to show you this handy dandy contraption. I don't know if anybody else has one of these, but this is called a Nor Pro. I've had them when they're called Wonder Cups. It's basically anytime you have a really fatty, like shortening or peanut butter, this is a great thing. When if I push on the bottom, it's just going to expel the really fatty substance, and it basically scrapes the side. It's a great way of doing that without getting your hands super messed up. So we'll do that. Again, we won't do that on Facebook Live, but we will do that afterwards. So anyway, I'm going to bring us back, and I can take a look at some of your comments. Did not get a chance to see too many things, so hello, Carol Silas. Carol is in my cookbook club, and she said she uses shot glasses to hold her spices, which I think is great, but I don't have that many shot glasses, Carol. So if you have all those shot glasses, more power to you. But yes, that would be also a good small container to hold your spices before you're ready to go, especially if it's a really quick recipe and you need to get everything. It's nice to kind of pour it and measure it out in some small containers. Okay, so again, my name is Mary Bear Shannon. I am a reference manager at the Haverford Township Free Library. We're doing Kickin' Cooking in quarantine, and we were doing a recipe for African chicken peanut stew. I will put the entire recipe on the Facebook page. And we're not completely done, but I will post some recipes later. So I just wanted to pose one more question and see if anybody, and if you don't want to post here, you could do it on the Facebook page. But my other question is, the holidays are coming up. This is a big, heavy week for a lot of different religious traditions. Passover starts, I think, Wednesday. Of course, this weekend is Easter, and a lot of us had family celebrations planned, and that's really not to be. So I wanted to see if anybody had some creative ways that they were going to connect with their families for a big holiday dinner, whether you were going to do, Zoom conference, or, how are you going to connect with those family members? And if you were going to connect it around food, and at least be together, even though you can't be in the same room. I'd love to hear what people's suggestions or what their plans. I personally am I have parents here in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia area, and they are in a retirement home, and their first case of COVID-19 was diagnosed this last week. So they are in super lockdown. They're really not even allowed out of their apartments. They're bringing all their food to their apartments. So I think they're going a little stir crazy, but and we're really disappointed we're not going to be together for Easter. But I think we're going to try and do a Zoom conference for Easter even, and they'll be cooking. Of course, they'll be cooking theirs. But if there's any other suggestions that or things that you're hoping to do during your celebrations, that would be great. I hear from Cindy. She's doing Zoom, the annual Lutz family brunch. She's doing the brunch. She's doing it virtual. So I think that's we've all become maybe not experts, but a lot more comfortable with some of this technology, and I definitely am glad for it, because it's hard. Sometimes the phone's just not enough. It's nice to actually see their face. And I see from Diane, yes, she's going to do a Zoom dinner as well. And Amy, who's our reference manager, said she's going to do Zoom Passover with her family. So you got to do what you got to do. And if things keep you from being together, you find a way. And I think that's the other thing, is we find a way hopefully through food. So anyway, I think that's about it for this episode. I did want to tell you a little bit about some other programs that the library is going to be doing this week. We do have live events. We also have pre-recorded events, things that you can just plan for, that they're going to be in the Facebook page. And so the things to look forward to this week is, again, Words and Wine Wednesdays. I did it last week and read poetry. It's at 5 p.m. on Wednesdays. And it's either short stories or poems or some kind of literature that is read. It's basically an adult story time. And you can bring your glass of wine at 5 o'clock on Wednesdays. That is a live event, but if you miss it, you can always watch it in video afterwards. And then Ask Amy on Thursdays. This is a time for people, you got questions about anything about COVID-19, about how to use how to download books digitally from the library. Any question, Amy is there to ask, to answer your questions. If you want to send her an email in advance, she will do. And if it's especially hard, if you're trying to stump Amy, you can send her an email at reference@haverfordlibrary.org, and she will be there to answer your questions. And I see here Cindy said she's been doing her brunch since 1956. So that's awesome. It's nice to have this long-lasting. And the The last thing this week that's live is our virtual Tea and Stitch. If you are a stitcher or want to be a stitcher, our Emily, Miss Emily, does that every Friday. That is a group that's been meeting for over a decade in person at the library, and they are very, very loyal group. We get 15 to 25 people in the basement every Friday at 10 o'clock. And so many of them are meeting online virtually. But Miss Emily, who is a longtime member of that group, is also demonstrating how to do certain knitting crafts like knitting and crochet and different things. She did something last week. I know she'll tell me what the name is, but it looked really complicated, but she made it look really easy. So tune in. That's on Fridays at 10:30. And then lastly, a couple of our pre-recorded programs. Our reference librarians are talking, doing videos. They are Monday through Friday at 4 o'clock. You can see what our reference librarians are reading. And they can also tell you how to get hold of those books. I know physical books are tough to get a hold of, but they can tell you how to download it from our system or how to get your hands on another digital copy of the books that they've been reading. And that is every day at Monday through Friday at 4 o'clock. So look for that video. And then lastly, we also have Tech Time with Catherine, our reference librarian. Catherine is regularly gives us tutorials on how to use certain technologies like Libby and Hoopla. And she just did one on using our Ancestry, which has now become easily accessible from home. You used to have to come into the library, but now you can use our Ancestry subscription from your home. So find those on our Facebook page. They're all in our video section, or you can also access it on our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel. So hello, Kathleen. Good to see you here. I'm glad you could make it. Glad to see you all here. And I'm glad that you could come today and tune in next week. Next Monday, we'll do another Cake and Cooking in quarantine, but also sign up for that Facebook page. Again, it's a great place to trade recipes and suggestions and talk about food, which is such an integral part of our lives. And I really see it as a way to bind us together during this really challenging time. So glad to see you all. And I hope to see you all at the library soon as we're able. Again, I'm Mary Bear Shannon. Good night.